Hey guys, welcome back. Shannon Murphy here, physical therapist, owner of Body Sense PT in Boonesboro. Wanted to talk to you a little bit more again on some tips and tricks you can use to stay literally safer at home. And so we've talked about some behavior things that kind of contribute to falls, whether it's rushing around or trying to get to something instantaneously, or sort of playing with these little ideas in your head about pushing your boundaries. Today I wanted to talk a little bit more about just the physical environment of your home and things like that. So there's lots of little factors that go into making something safe or safer. And I think a lot of people know about the trip hazards like throw rugs and maybe thresholds a little bit, but there's some other things to think about in terms of like your pets, So, pets are a great source of companionship and emotional support, but you have to make sure that they're not creating a physical hazard for you as well. Or if you've adopted a new pet, kind of figuring out how to kind of learn to negotiate each other a little bit before somebody ends up getting stepped on or falling. So, tackle the low-hanging fruit for sure. Anything that changes levels that's easy to catch your feet on. The throw rugs are the big culprit a lot of times, especially if you have issues with peripheral vision, like being able to see at the bottom of your eye field, or you wear bifocals. Those things can catch you. But pets are another big one. So knowing your pet's behavior, do they come up and kind of get in between your legs when they're hungry? Can you make sure that you feed them ahead of time so they're not doing that? Do they tend to sleep in a particular spot? Making sure you don't step over them. And certainly if you have new pets, kind of working with somebody to train them. So those are all big ones. Clutter is another big one. Obviously, if you have grandkids over, or you do any sort of babysitting, obviously it's ideal to say, okay, small child, keep all of your stuff over here, but that's not oftentimes how those things happen. So just being super aware of those little things that get collected on the floor and how you go about getting them out of the way. It may be something where if you have the balance, you can kick it out of the way instead of bending over and coming back up, which might make you dizzy. It might be having a reacher, like one of those long handled reachers that you just kind of pluck things out of the way. Maybe it's a broom that you sweep stuff out of the way. Big thing is just keep your aisleway and your walking paths clear. Another thing that people don't necessarily think about sometimes is lighting. So if you have an open window and hard lighting coming through one side, but then around the corner you've got like a darker room and maybe a couple of reading lights, older eyes have a harder time adjusting to those changes. So it's really important to kind of look at how the lighting is in your house, or where you notice that you have issues. So if you're coming around the corner and you've got like a little step down area and it's darker there and you kind of constantly feel like you kind of forget it's there, getting some brighter lights, some LEDs, like natural spectrum lights that you can get through a contractor or at Lowe's or Home Depot, any of those places, can be a good trick to kind of help even out the lighting so your eyes aren't struggling to adjust. So a couple of tips and tricks, maybe you've heard, maybe you haven't, but just another couple ideas to keep you safe at home.